All right, it's been a rough past 2 weeks here. I'm still recovering. I've been pretty sick the past 2 weeks, and have been unable to play the game or record anything really. So now I'm finally back. New sets out. We've got some really cool things going on, but also some bad news. The bad news is that, well, obviously, with a 3-year rotation in mind, the new set's impact is going to be lower than expected. I still have some hope here, but it's not looking as good as I thought just because of this specific card. We'll just go over it real quick. I might talk about it in a different video, but the Schooner has pushed the Esper mid-range deck to the next level. It was already clearly the best deck in the metagame, in my opinion. But now, with the Schooner, this card is just broken, and it is so broken that it could warp the meta, and it is incredible with Rafine. That's the main issue here. The main issue is that Crew 1 is way too good. It allows you to basically have unrelenting pressure. You will never run out of pressure. There's also like Murex to crew it. It's so easy to crew 1. You could have literally anything, a Kaito token, Wandering Emperor token. You'll never run out of things to crew this with, and it is very, very insane that it has an ability on top of that that gives you card advantage or stats. And it's insane with the Rafine, allowing you to proc Rafine immediately and also make Rafine bigger. Can dodge cut down then. It's way too good. Anyways, let's just focus more on this cool deck here that I brewed up. And it all comes down to the initial idea, the Zoetic Glyph being one of the best cards in the set, in my opinion, and also just being an enabler for an archetype that we haven't seen yet in Standard, like just artifacts in general, but specifically maybe a more aggressive version of an artifact deck. Maybe, since this card, well, I guess we should go over what the card does first. If you don't know, you have a 3 mana enchantment aura, you slap it onto an artifact, and it becomes a 5/4 golem. And when this enchantment is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, you discover for 3. So you'll exile cards off the top of your library until you exile a card with mana value 3 or less, so a non-land card, and you get to cast that for free. So you get card advantage, you get insane tempo with the stat line that is 5/4 for 3 mana, which is absurd, and the creature keeps its other abilities, meaning you can leverage this with other keywords, like Double Strike, for example. I guess we'll talk about both Double Strike creatures first. We have the Lizard Blades, which is probably like actually insane in this deck. Like it's kind of crazy. This card is theoretically like a good card already, but in this deck it is so much better than it might seem. First of all, it's a 2-drop, so it curves well into the Zoetic Glyph, and that will make a 5/4 Double Strike. But the most important part of this card, I think, is the reconfigure, which means that, if you put the Zoetic Glyph on something else, we'll talk about the other creatures, but if you put it on another creature that doesn't have many abilities, you can reconfigure this and attach it to that creature. So it's something that as a top deck will still have utility when you want to put the Double Strike on a creature that's already buffed. So you don't necessarily need a Double Strike creature to put the Zoetic Glyph on. You can just use this and buff that creature. So it's doubly good. It's good on turn 2 into Zoetic Glyph, and it's good later on in the game when you already have a glyph onto something else, like the Watcher, for example, which is actually an absurd card to put the glyph on. The Watcher is a flying vigilance creature, which is already really good. So flying and vigilance, very good with a buff of stats. And it's even better because when it dies, it draws a card, which means that if you, first of all, they don't want to kill this, right? So it's something that they don't really want to interact with because it draws you a card. So they're not going to use removal on it most of the time. And then you slap the 5/4 on it. And then if they deal with it, you're drawing a card and you're discovering for 3. So it's a lot of value. It allows you to keep up with your opponent in most cases in stats and also in card advantage. So it's really, really strong. We have the Dragon Engine, which is just fantastic. It's a double strike 2/2. Same thing here. You just slap the Zoetic Glyph onto it potentially, and even if you don't, it's still fine. You can slap. I guess we'll talk about the pickaxe later. There's so many things to talk about in this deck. There's a lot of different things you can do, a lot of combinations. So it's pretty cool. The Unearth is also fantastic. Like very late game potentially, you can do an Unearth for 5. You bring the 2/2 double strike out, and you can Zoetic Glyph it as well, and still get the Discover. So that's pretty good. But the Phyrexian Dragon Engine also gives you card advantage. When you're unearthing it, you can discard your hand if you do draw 3 cards. And since it has haste, it's really good for reach as well. You got 4 damage creature attacking from the graveyard, which is pretty good. We also have, I guess let's talk about the last thing that can be Zoetic Glyphs. You can also Zoetic Glyph the schooner, I mean, it's pretty good. But the Diamond Pickaxe. Diamond Pickaxe is an indestructible artifact. And it's also, the equip is pretty relevant as well. Like, since we have double strike creatures, putting the pickaxe on a double strike creature, giving it +1/+1 is also pretty relevant. So keep that in mind. It's not completely useless. It's not great, so you don't want too many pickaxes. But you can get a 5/4 indestructible creature, which is sometimes relevant. I would say in this meta, not really relevant. I'm mostly testing it. I would say I'm not too satisfied with it right now. I would maybe rather have more Spyglass Siren, which is a new 1/1 flyer that makes a map token. Map token's pretty good. It allows you to explore, but you can also turn it into a 5/4. So there's that. All right, then we have the non-artifact kind of synergy cards. We've got the new legendary creature, the 3-mana 1/5. Now this card is going to give you absurd amount of card advantage. This card's broken. It's really, 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 really good. Really good. I mean, in all artifact decks, you're pretty much just defaulting towards playing 4 copies of this. It is absurd how quickly your opponent has to deal with it before it gets out of hand. So you have the effect at the beginning of each player's end step, so your opponent's end step as well. If an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand, 1 in the graveyard. We have some things that can go in the graveyard and come out later, like Phyrexian Dragon Engine, so that's always nice. But it's just, look at top 2, draw a card. That's really good. And it also dodges Shield Edge because it's not really a card draw, just put it in your hand. There's also that. And with Morex being a land that exists in Standard, and potentially you can have some flash cards if you want to, but mostly with Morex, if you're in the mid game and you have nothing else to do, you can still get this activated on your opponent's turn by making a Morex token on your opponent's turn. So there's that. That's really good. The other thing that is really good, finally this card seeing a little bit of play. It's always weird. It seems like this card is powerful enough to just see play at any point of it. I've tried to make it work in the past. It's just not good enough. But finally, we have a set that is pretty dedicated towards artifacts, and that means that this card has to be good, right? Surely it's finally good. So the static ability of each activated ability of an artifact costing 2 less is not very relevant. It's pretty much only for the Diamond Pickaxe, so not great. Also the map token, I guess, but really that's not really what you're looking for with this card. What you're looking for is just the fact that it's kind of another Zoetic Glyph where you minus and you turn an artifact into a 4/4. So same thing with Double Strike, really good. Same thing with the Vigilance, very good. Indestructible, very good. You can also just have the schooner out, but that's not very good, I guess. It's just kind of whatever. But as another stat buffer that is also tied to a Planeswalker, it is pretty useful, and it is really nice to have more effects that act like the glyph, because the glyph alone is not really enough consistency. You definitely needed another card, and the fact that we do have access to Tezzeret makes this deck a lot better than it would be otherwise. It would be a little bit too high roll otherwise. Now I feel like it's just kind of good. And you also have the draw 2 cards then discard 2 unless you discard an artifact. I don't know why I got lost there for a second. The ult is not very relevant, but I mean, if you get to it, I mean, I guess it's not. It's just not relevant. You would almost never go for the ult. You're always minusing pretty much. Okay, so we also have a man land. It's not super useful, but it's there. Oh, yeah, okay, let's talk about where this deck is struggling a little bit. Now, the main issue is that I've been considering going Grixis with this deck. I still have to test it because removal spells are bad. Removal spells are very, very bad. And I also think you could use Duress in this deck just for like kind of tempo purposes, just trying to take your opponent's removal spell to guarantee that you have access to like your big creature and it stays on the board. So there's that. But having Grixis mana is not necessarily that good. But you know what? Grixis mana is so good that it might be playable. Again, I'm just working from the basics here with the Izzet deck, but I think you could go Grixis and it could still work out. So I have to test that. But, for removal, we have Witness Protection pretty much. It just turns the creature into a 1/1 with no text. It's pretty much as good as it gets, really. All the damage-based removal is not good because with Double Strike, you really want damage in combat because you want the first strike to proc and then remove the creature if you're facing a big creature. And red has really bad removal for bigger creatures, which is kind of the problem as well. So at first I had like a bunch of like 2 damage, removal spells, but you have shield red and stuff like that, and those creatures are 5 toughness, so it's actually really hard to, first strike for 3. It's actually very hard to do that. You can do that with Phyrexian Dragon Engine sometimes, and then finish off the shield road with like 2 damage, but it's not consistent. So I figured, at first I had the thing that sacked an artifact and dealt 4, but that was still not enough. Shield road is like a huge problem. So bigger, like fat creatures are kind of annoying. So I just figured I'd play Witness Protection, just disable those creatures straight up. It's good against Rafine as well, and also play just burn spells to have that. If it kills a creature, nice. But if it doesn't, it can still go face, which is kind of what you need. You don't want to. You want a little bit of reach, I think. In sideboard, I'm trying to shore that weakness up a little bit for like a little bit slower matchups. So we have 3 Spell Pierce. That's for like tempo matchups where you really want to curve out and you want to have like maybe 1 mana open every now and then to counter like a sweeper or a removal spell or something. Very good because you're going to be the one who doesn't really care about combat math. Like you have flying, you have double strike, your opponent's probably not going to be able to block very efficiently. So you mostly care about non-creature spells. That's why I have Spell Pierce. We have the Barrage for things like Rafine. Just deal 5 damage to it, uncounterable, pretty nice. We have the Shield Red counterplay with the Nahira's Warcrafting. It's a little slow, but this card's always good, so I'm not gonna say it's not worth playing. I mean, it's pretty much every time you have a red deck with access to neither white nor black, you definitely need to play Warcrafting. So I have 3 copies of that. 2 Brotherhood's End, because when you're buffing things with Glyph, it's 4 toughness, so you don't really care about sweeping. Like you'll just have a big creature, and your opponent will, for the most part, have nothing. So that's kind of nice. 2 Saheelis, I'm just testing this card. I don't know, it's fine. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems fine. Like again, this is mostly for controlling matchups. So I guess I haven't really played a controlling matchup yet, and it's still been useful in more mid-range matchups as well. Just making the 2/1/1s with haste is pretty nice. It does proc the legendary creature for the draw as well. And lastly, we have the third pass Iconoclast. So when you're sideboarding in more non-creature spells, you're bringing in the Iconoclast to make those 1/1 colorless artifact tokens. And it allows you to be a little bit tricky with casting on your opponent's turn potentially to get a proc off of this legendary creature as well. Now we don't have that many instant speed spells, but you can add more potentially. I was thinking at first I had this in the main deck, but it's very low tempo to play a 2/1 that can't curve out into Glyph, essentially. That's the main issue. So it's more of like a sideboard transformational plan, but it still works really, really well when I did transition over to a more controlling post board. Especially on the draw, you definitely need something that's a little bit slower, that gains a little bit more value over the course of the game. But yeah, I really like this deck. I love the concept. I'm really in love with the Glyph. Like this is one of my favorite cards from the new set. When I was reviewing the cards, this really stood out to me. I really like effects like this. I do think it's maybe a little too strong, but with the power level standard, it's kind of in line actually. So it's kind of weird that a card like this is just good. It's not like broken compared to other spells. That's where we're at in standard. Like a card like this being just good. Where the Schooner is actually broken though, but it's not as broken in this deck as it would be in like a Rafine deck. Like this card when you specifically with Rafine is just unbearably good. Like it's ridiculous. It is really ridiculous. I don't know. It's so hard. You'll never be able to match Rafine with Schooner on turn 2. You never. You can't interact with this the turn it comes down. Rafine has Warden 1, so it's kind of hard to interact with when it comes down as well, especially if you're on the draw. And if Rafine gets a +1/+1 counter, it's tough. But yeah, anyways, yeah, check this deck out if you feel like crafting a bunch of cards. I do think the good news about this deck and why I was willing to craft it, because usually I don't like crafting cards early on, I like grinding for them. But all these cards that you craft, like mostly this legendary creature and the Schooner, well, they're cards that will be in the meta 100%. Like these are not cards that you will regret crafting. They're definitely extremely high power level, and they will see play eventually, if not right now. So it's pretty safe. Now, some of you might not have things like Lizard Blade, so that's a little bit more questionable because this card literally has no other application other than in this deck, I think, and I don't think it will have any application later on as well. So I do think Phyrexian Dragon Engine is a good card to craft though. So mostly you're looking at the Tezzeret, I think, which is a little bit to craft. It's probably going to be playable now, but is it really what people want to be doing. I don't know. It's a mythic. It's kind of tough to justify. And lizard blades. So, you know, if you don't have both of these, well, just check this gameplay out and, you know, have some fun watching me play it. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend you craft this deck, essentially, is what I'm saying, unless you have the cards already. Or if you're just missing cards from the new set. Anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. I do have that combo that will probably not work out because my opponent plays removal, but maybe they're not playing cut down because it's worse now. Copium. You know, maybe I play black, I play duress, I take the removal spell, and then I just 1, 2, 3 dead. Like basically dead, because then the next turn I could just remove with a black card. I think it's probably, it might be that actually. Trying to curve out. That card exists. That card does exist. This card is actually good though. And that card is not very good, but children. That's actually interesting, right? Because I could trade my blades and surge, take out Shieldred, and I'm actually in a decent position. I think I'm supposed to do that. I don't love it, but it's not horrible, so like compared to letting them potentially stabilize soon, I think it's fine. Like, I'm not killing them fast enough with the double strike. They can just block with the Dread Knight as well. Like this is actually good. Like it's actually good. Yellowhead, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. There's no way it's land. It's gotta be that. Also, I forgot. I do have card advantage here as well. Alright, sure. I guess I can. Yeah, I can finish it off. I mean, do I even want to finish it off? Maybe this glyph. Let's see how good the glyph is. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good, but I have no creature. Well, that's not very good. Oh wait, I can just worth? Not worth? Turn into a vehicle permanently, but then that's probably worth. I mean, I get it down. It's probably worth. Animate land. That's not terrible. I mean, I'm definitely playing this. Well, isn't it better to just do this then? I'll just do that. Let's play the second one.
This isn't how things things were supposed to go.
I don't know. This is not looking too good. I think the problem is this is annoying. Very annoying. But it's not that annoying this turn. So maybe it's fine. Close. It's probably this. And I'm gonna take Shield Red. I have to be careful about Shield Red. But I guess I can kind of deal with it. I probably save the combo. Maybe I should just I just stack with the bulb. See what happens. Probably get a land. I can go in next turn with a combo. Okay. Sure. Wait, this can... I could block with that, actually. That's good. That's very good. That's not good. That this procs before. Kind of annoying. Now they're further out from dying. What? Sure. Maybe they don't know they can take from their own graveyard? I don't care if they kill it. Oh wait, oh it only has first strike. Oh, this card sucks. I do not like that. Okay, that's not good. Take it a 3, I guess. That's not good at all. Do I have to kill that? I think I have to kill that. That's not very useful. It didn't even take my... What? Okay. But if I kill it, it comes back. Just... It's game over. Like, I don't think I can beat that. But, I mean... Well, I don't know. I don't see anything. Witness protection somehow? Guess I have to play that anyways. That's fine. It's just... I think I have to... Oh, I should have crewed first, yeah. But, I mean, there's no way. There's no way. Alright, whatever. Pickaxe is not even that good because that card exists, and there's the Edict as well. Hmm. I'd rather have Lizard Blades or Iconoclast. I mean, probably Iconoclast. I don't think I'm bursting them at all. Maybe just cut it. Two double strike baseline. I guess it is pretty good. I should keep this in. Not great. Yeah, Shield Red being Shield Red. I mean, that's what you sign up for when you don't play good room spells. But it was mostly just. I mean, I can't beat the Virtue. The Virtue is just too good. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's good. I was gonna say, I mean, I was expecting that, but also, like, what else can I really do? It's not like my removal spells are good. Other than that card. Which I probably have to play 4 of, because, like, can you really afford to not play 5 damage with upside in this meta? Probably not. Oh, wait, I took Schooner. Wait, oh, yeah. I can't play it, okay. Man, I didn't get swept last turn. What are the odds? Oh, you have to attack first. Like, Pierce more than Stroke? In this deck, yeah. I think this deck is supposed to curve out quickly. I should not be playing the long game, but I guess it's unfortunate. I think you're forced to play the long game, which means that this deck does not work basically. I don't even have burn. I think that would help as well. Like, there's too many missing aspects to this deck. I think there's no good burn I could play. I think. Whoa. Or yeah, that's lethal. Well, it's lethal. Oh, it's not lethal because I can't. 2, 8, 9, 1 off. I mean, if I play this pretty much lethal. Close. Like, there's no way to get out of this just because now I have the mana as well. If you just play 1-drops, you will like. There's too many There are too many good 3-mana sweepers for you to just play 1-drops and win, I think, unfortunately. But maybe it's just like 4 pickaxe. But again, like, it's possible, maybe. Like, what are you cutting? Because my curve is low. And the 3-drop slot is like pretty stacked. I don't think you would cut any of them. So then the only thing you could cut is like this, but then you're losing all your mid game completely for 1-drops. It's not possible in this meta. It's not, you can't justify it. The only thing that could replace a 1-drop, that could be replaced by a 1-drop, is a 3-drop. But then why are you even playing the deck? Like, if I'm not playing Dragon Engine, I mean, maybe. I guess maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's possible that I just play random 1-drop instead of Dragon Engine. That's like very difficult because Dragon Engine is kind of my burn. It dies and then I bring it out and it does 4 damage, right? Hmm. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe. But like the 1-drop is like what? The 1/1 flyer that makes a map token? It's like not that good. It's not that impactful compared to just playing like a 2/2 double striker. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do on the draw. I have zero. I have no idea. No clue. I don't know. Well, try to curve out, I guess. So just try to cheese them. Probably, probably the right play. Try to go for like 5/4 double strike turn 3. That's not good enough. This is pretty good though, but what are these opening hands? What? Have I seen no 2-drop? I think I have to keep this. It has like parts, like mostly this. Am I supposed to be playing like 22 lands or something? Wow, I just put a land at the bottom and I drew 2 lands. Unfortunate. Okay, alright, okay. They definitely kept removal if they're keeping a 2-lander. There's like no way around that. I could win. I don't know why they would keep a 2-lander on the play. It must be like a really stacked anti-creature hand. I'm just gonna pass every turn, basically. I think it might be time to play here. Like, when's the best time to play this? Because it's gonna die to removal either way, right? So I might as well play it now. Okay, they have removal. Okay, so if they have removal and then they have removal again... Does that mean I'd rather play this just because it's less explosive, but it's also like safer against like -3, -3. Or did I just go for the high? I mean, there's no way they kept the hand. Yeah, they discarded virtue. There's like no way. I just play this. If this gets virtued, I would be not happy. I would be not happy at all. Whoa. Oh yes, the priority. It just passes immediately to. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. That was also an option. I was also considering that. Where they just have like Terra Sunder randomly. But I don't know why they would keep that hand with just Terra Sunder. Anyways, oof. That's a little scary actually. Because I think this is more impactful. I I don't think this is... I think I'm too far ahead. I should just take this. In case this... Like, if this dies, which it probably has to die here. Otherwise, I'm just getting too much value, and this doesn't matter anyways. Okay, well, that's good. I should probably just cast this at this point. It's mana efficient. And if I don't cast it, I don't have an artifact anyways, so... And if they destroy it on their turn, I can just essentially get some more value out of the glyph. Ooh. I think I draw that. Gives me an artifact. Rex is good, but if this dies, it's useless. And if it lives, then I don't care if I have Rex or not, because I'm gonna have infinite cards. I was definitely right to board the Blaze back in, so that's nice. I just go double dragon, probably. I doubt they have instant speed removal for this because they just use 2 tears. It's possible to have 3rd tear there with their hand though. Sure. Yeah. Not great. Not terrible, I guess. I think I have to play both. I think it's a throw if I don't play both. I might get wrecked though. If they have -2/-2 multiple times. Sure. I'm really happy I have more crafting. You cannot even begin to imagine how happy I am. Fantastic. Tempo.
My toys.
I can do it again on the Dragon Engine as well. On this one. It's actually really nice to have a 4/4 Flying Vigilance. Oh, that's actually good. That's actually good. Sure. Yeah, definitely not very useful, but whatever.
This is what real progress looks like.
Nice. Somehow won that. Not a good matchup for me. And this is version 1 of the deck, so it's not optimized at all. Oh, by the way, don't forget to click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell if you want to keep up with my future uploads. Anyways, back to the gameplay. Not great. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, broken cards are usually at their best in the best decks. They make the broken cards even better. They're not cards that need any support. You just play them and whatever's the best. Kind of like Wedding Announcement, similar. You just play Wedding Announcement on like everything, but it's at its best in the best deck because it's even more oppressive. Because it's just a neutrally good card. -4. Hitting a lower ranked opponent in standard game is actually dying. True. Actually, how do I get silver here? Crazy. I'm gonna lose too, because I'm gonna get mana screwed. I don't even know if I want to play that. I don't know if I want to take the 1 damage for that. I think I just lose from, like, at least I drew a land, I guess, but I don't see how I'm ever stabilizing this board. Wow. Good last card. Just this, like, wow, what am I gonna do against this? Like, too far behind. I was on the draw. Like, there's just nothing. Can I try any ramp deck? No, the best ramp deck is just gonna be the same. There's nothing else. There's no reason to try anything else. There's nothing that can be added to that deck to make it better. Hmm. I don't know if the double strike strategy is that good here. Get lost is fine, yeah. Get lost is pretty good for the ramp deck, but like it's pretty much the same. But like there's no innovation. It's not a major innovation at all. Just a random removal spell, right? Well, I don't love this, but I don't know. The opening hand is fine. Like if I go Iconoclast into this would be nice, obviously. Card's pretty good. Yeah, this is not good. I didn't really want more 3 drops, especially not these. But I would be fine with casting this, I guess. Very interesting. think I'm supposed to do this. It's very high tempo. I think it's fine even if it dies. I think this is just like this would have been good last turn, but it's just not great if they just attack. Yeah, the bat is really good. That's surprising. I'm not sure why they would do that unless they have. I guess they have the thing that gets back from the graveyard guaranteed, right? Otherwise, there's no point. Yeah, that is pretty annoying. That's fine. I don't know if I would trade that. Kind of interesting. It's kind of good for me. I think I will. I get a card, I get a thing, and I remove their main source of aggression. I think it's worth. Discover is cast? It is cast. Okay, nice. And I need a land too. Nah, that's alright. No jam. That is interesting. That is pretty good as well. I guess just do it again. I think I win this now pretty clearly. Like, I have way more board presence than they do. Sure. They bring back Chorus? Isn't that worse than bringing back Chorus and sacking it? This is kind of dangerous. Yeah, I don't like that. This is pretty good against a sweeper. That's really good. I can use this to my advantage as well. I can't attack with either lifelinker basically, which is kind of nice. I really want this to die. I knew this card would be good too. Like, it's pretty obvious. It's 3 sack outlet plus stats. Like, it's a very annoying card to deal with when you're trying to math out damage. I guess that doesn't really work if you have block. Even against cut down, pretty good against cut down. And fizzle it. This has to be worth. Oh wait. Wait. I think I screwed up. Yeah, I was already Izzet, but I'm just... Okay, I kind of forgot about that. I definitely use the land, I think, more. It's scaring me a little bit. I think it's time to get rid of it. Actually, no, I need one more land, right? And then they would also get bats. Kind of annoying. Kind of annoying. My mistake is gonna cost me, actually. I would be... Yeah, I would be there already. I just do it next turn, I guess. To make sure I put a stop. That's fine. And they can't attack into double strike, so... Want to scry? They get a big creature, but it's fine. Like, if they want to sack this, they have to lose the bats, which is better for me. They do gain the life from it, so that's something, I guess. I get a Giga creature, but I don't think I care about that. I do take a decent amount of damage, I guess. Oh, that's not a good play. I'm just gonna chump block anyways, and then... I'll be fine. There are my lands. What the... I mean, they're dead on board next turn. no reason for me not to jump, really. Pretty dangerous to be at 1. 2, I mean. Even though I'm pretty sure nothing can happen, but never know. I don't know. This matchup is pretty random. I mean, I don't know. I could just lose. I don't think a Schooner does much for me. Pretty decent blocker, but I think it's just worse than Blades. I'm pretty sure the Tezzy doesn't do anything for me. Muted. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's huge. Interesting. I kind of want to play this. It's not the best play on this turn. Highest upside. If I do this into this or this, it's not that good. I think I just do this. Might not get value, but I don't know. I don't love destroying that and then playing a trashy creature. But I'll have to do it next turn if they kill this, so I don't know. Could wait for the value. Maybe this was a maybe I have enough time here. I should have just waited. Probably. They haven't shown me much removal though. And if they remove this, I guess they can't remove that. I mean, they would have had that for later anyways. Like, I wouldn't get the proc off. Now, that is interesting. How much value is this? I'm okay with that. I am very okay with that. I love this card. And I love the Blaze with this card. They have a 1-mana play. It's kind of interesting. Not that useful, right? Have the Otawara in my back pocket. Probably don't need it, but you never know. This land is not horrible, but it's like in most decks, it's not that useful. There's a specific deck where it's good, but I mean this is double strike, so do I care? Do I want to get rid of this just because why not? I mean, it makes a flyer. Is that relevant? Not really. Like, I don't want this attacking for free every turn, so probably should kill it. I'm okay with the bad. I think I can take the long game. Not a huge deal. Yeah, that's fine. No impact. Okay, the lands are getting out of hand, though. The lands are getting out of hand. Alright. Yeah, vigilance is just massive. It's unbelievable how important that is. 3 off. It will be lethal next turn, though. Wow. I will take that every day. Incredible. That is really good for me. It does stop me from having lethal next turn, though, so there's that small upside. And I guess I'm not really drawing anything impactful, so... Okay. It's not as bad as land, but I drew a lot of land earlier, so... Now, is this lethal? I need 3 damage. They will have 4 blockers. I got it. I think I have it. No hidden lifelink, I hope. Pray. Even if I don't have lethal, I think it's gonna take care of a lot here. Like they would have to block the two power, which means they lose at least 2 creatures, which is monstrous rage. That's interesting. Yeah, rage is not terrible. Good play. We'll try it out later. Didn't even consider that card. It's been, I don't know. Kind of forgot it existed. If you enjoy my content and would like to help me keep making it, consider supporting me over on Patreon, where you'll get access to a bunch of bonus videos, as well as other rewards depending on the tiers. And thank you so much to all the lovely patrons that are already subscribed. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you all in the next video.